pick that third and then ban away 2 good options into it. Love the Sejuani here for Caedrel. He looks real good on the champion, I think. Maybe just followed up with an Ezreal. The Yuumi Ezreal very, very safe in this 2 versus 2, and it would give Caedrel the ability to play much more around Expect and Mickey in the laning phase, try and put more pressure on the likes of DanDan and Leader, who can be pretty hit or miss.
If they do lock it in, the very safe bot lane, is it going to be what they go for? I think it might just be, and well predicted, Ender, the Ezreal will now be locked in. And the thing about the Sejuani, because I'm not going to talk about Ezreal.
No. Let me say this. Leader will do it. Like he's done it before. He has just blind picked Zed first rotation.
He can ban 2 champions after this.
I love it.
He's literally, he can hear you guys. He's milking you for
Come on,
reactions.
bait him on, guys. Convince them.
Okay, Leader.
Come on.
Sure. Well, you're going to go for... Oh, that's so
Hey, that's good.
Hey. He's played this champ before. The 5th and final champion in the Exodia champion pool of Leader is the Qiyana. 4 parts banned away. Still gets the heart. We'll be able to bust that one out on stage and see what he can do. Obviously had a very catastrophic fight around the Baron pit last time we saw this champion in his hands, but I want to go back to the Sejuani pick for Caedrel as we go further in the game, because Sejuani, I don't care about Sejuani. What I do like is Sejuani's passive attached to another melee champion. Misfits, on the other hand, don't like that and will ban away the Renekton. But do we see some more creative melee options coming in for the side of Excel?
I mean, I wonder if Misfits go ahead and ban away the Kled as well. We saw the Renekton Kled ban in the second rotation in our previous game. Both have seen as fairly blind pickable options here. Now that a lot of our ranged top laners have been nerfed, Jace, of course, disabled on this patch, so the one that did get bumped up a little bit in priority isn't an option for these teams. It makes a lot of these melee champions, these very good fighters in lane, a whole lot more viable.
Now we get to see, though, Misfits Gaming, are they scared of the Kled? The Aatrox will actually be the priority coming out here. Kind of laying down the gauntlet, asking Expect, do you play it? Are you ready to bust it out on stage? It's been an interesting pick from what we've seen so far kind of across the world and in the LEC.
So looking now at what Kirei opts in for, that's what Misfits are going to be picking up 4th as probably their jungler now. I'd like to see him bring some magic damage to the field here with the Qiyana, which we assume is going into the hands of Leader in the mid lane. They are lacking a bit in terms of that. We've seen him pilot the Elise 2 times already. I think that would be my preferred champion for him if he can have an early game jungler to have a high impact and to play around strong solo lanes, because they can go ahead and save their blast pick to counter out for DanDan up in the top lane. I'd love to see him something that can really fight early on and set him up.
Ooh, and the Gragas will now be that option. We'll see if he wants to go for the Predator a bit more early.
The Elise, of course, was banned, Gragas being the other primary AP option.
So there you go. One of the 2 options you talked about taken away. So another good AP jungler. The Silas also banned away. So a lot of the comfort picks that Kirei may have gone for not available this time around. And for him, yet to play, or has played the Gragas 1 time this season, but has yet to find a win on it. We'll see if this game will be a different story. Now, talked about it earlier, the power of Sejuani with a melee champion. That's going to be the instant Camille lock-in, and that is a synergy you do not want to mess with.
Yeah, that I'm thinking is maybe even a Camille into the mid lane here. We saw Origin play this all the way back in week number 1. I think that has to be the option for them here. Specifically up against the Qiyana, you can definitely take control over that matchup. Have a lot of ganking power with that Sejuani as well. I'd love to see it.
The Soraka, the Teemo. Rumble. All right, locked in.
Magic damage for Excel, of course. They need that with the Camille in the mid lane. We're assuming, of course, they still could flip those 2 champions around here, but this is also one of Expect's go-to blind pick options. We haven't seen it in a little while, but early weeks of the split, he very often itemized or pathed into this Rumble and draft.
And can just, of course, be an incredibly strong champion. The synergy between the 2 ults of the Rumble combined with the Sejuani is just absolutely lethal on that top side of the map. Once again, looking at this game, you expect it to be all about the solo lanes when you look across both lineups. With jeskla and Mystiques on a passive lane, it looks like it may come true, but Ender, final pick is going to be the Vladimir. We'll go straight into the jungle, folks. That's 100% confirmed. Will definitely be played there. Break this one down for me. Vladimir top lane. Of course, Xayah, Rakan on the bot side. What do you see in both these comps?
I'm seeing tons of AoE teamfight damage, especially over on the side of Misfits Gaming. Of course, you have the Rakan to set up for Vladimir, Qiyana, all these giant AoE ultimates. This comp is meant to try and explode you right at the start of the fight, to not give you any chance to think. Whereas I think Excel have a lot of tools like maybe engage softer from range. You know, you have the Rumble ultimate, the slows coming out from Iceborne Gauntlet, Ezreal Qs, the Sejuani, of course, to make that hard play. But I think they can hold a lot of their spells much more easily and really choose exactly when they want to go in for the fight.
All right. And this is the thing about team comps. We see both coaches now shake hands. It's always easy to be like, hey, this is what they want to do. This is how they want to play the game. Assuming they handshake for the first 20 minutes and everyone gets their first 2 items. But when we look at who can build an early game advantage, Ender, where do you expect to see the junglers go? Where do you want to see the focus from both these lineups?
I think mid lane has to be such a high priority in this game. Both these mid laners have had high highs, they've had very low lows as well. And with the nature of these champions, Camille versus Qiyana in the mid lane, this can snowball out of control. Gonna have to keep our eyes on that one for sure.
Here we go, folks. Push freeze game 2. Let's get it kicking off. Excel versus Misfits. I'm not going to say one spot in playoffs remains yet. It's a little bit early, but I'm going to pretend like that's the stakes for this game. 4-7 for Misfits.
They're always here too. Like, shout out to you guys. Yeah. Every single time. Excel have not had an easy split, but you're always here. You're always cheering them on. Eventually, it's going to work. It worked yesterday.
It worked, dude. Excel's getting better. Okay, so here's my question for you, Ender. There's a lot of things that I want to look at in this early game. You talked already about how important mid lane is, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, you still sound skeptical about the Excel hype train, but we've seen some incredible games from this team. What's holding you back? Where are your reservations at?
I mean, okay.
Is that it? Was that the
That was shot? A little bit of a reservation because walls typically don't move, so you can predict how long the range on your spells are going to be.
Stop being mean.
Ultimately, what we see a lot from Excel is very consistent early games, and I think that's driven by Caedrel a lot of the time. He's very smart and efficient in his early game pathing, even if he's not popping off with a lot of kills. I just generally like what we see from this team, but they generally do struggle when it comes to mid-game execution. I think that's a big weakness we've historically seen from our bottom teams in the LEC or back in those days. But that's definitely the area of their game that they need to work on. And with a composition like this, I feel like they have a lot of tools to try and excel and really push the game forward in the mid-game.
Well played.
I was going to say accelerate, but then I realized what I'd done.
You made a monster, and that's okay. Both junglers working towards level 3, it looks like, for Caedrel, if he wants to clear the entire bottom side. Gragas will do the standard red side clear, or red buff area clear. Yeah, and what we'll see from Kirei is he's probably going to base after picking up those Krugs, because he's running the Predator boots. This is a path we see a whole lot. With those AoEs, you can start on your Raptor camp, so you do not need a leash in the early game. That's going to mean you can quickly blitz through those camps and then get down bottom side when Neon and Hiva are going to be pushing up. And obviously for jeskla and Mystiques, the early levels are just going to be miserable. Yes, they will not be really touched at all. Yes, they will be able to farm safely. That's the courtesy of the Ezreal, but they're not going to be able to do a whole lot here until the Yuumi has maybe a back and a few levels under her belt. Yeah, and what we're seeing from this Misfits bottom lane is they're trying to push out this wave really hard and bounce it off the turret. So on the timing of Gragas being bottom lane, the waves will be neutral. You know, they're going to meet up down on that bottom side. It will give Kirei the opportunity to perhaps look for some play around that bottom side or just use that pressure to pick up an early scuttle. See what happens. Once again, our eyes and expectations are all around the mid lane. Want to see where the attention is going to go there as Mickey and Leader both fight very intensely over this one. Mickey, of course, has bounced the wave, and it will now push back to him. And this is Mickey's first pro game as Camille, so we're going to have to see how well he knows the matchup. Obviously, the theory is there, but can he also execute? Well, he can't execute on that cannon minion. Yeah, I think what we're going to see a lot is the range discrepancy playing a large effect here. I think, wow, what we're going to see is a gank. Here comes the Predator. It's going to be a lot of damage. Mickey goes right in, does get knocked up. Can they make it out to safety? Kirei taking the tower aggro. Mickey's still burning down, but Leader's going to grab first blood. Caedrel now going to try to fire back, but this is already massive. The flash over the wall. The lockup is there. The stun will connect. One. Leader now has to be careful, though. Caedrel not going to push for anything else. Hiva is there to back him up. That was a really sick gank there from Kirei because all expectations were he's going to path down towards that bottom side of the map. But instead he's like, no, 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 I'm going to come where they least expected. A gank on mid lane underneath the tower at 3 minutes from the top side of the map. XL were not ready for that one, and it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade in the end, but I like the move out of Kirei, especially to try and get Leader ahead. And well, actually, this is a very tense situation.
Yeah, because I mean, Kirei, he sits on the edge of tower aggro for a very long time. He even sees Caedrel coming around that corner. He's like, okay, I'm going to buy you as much time as I possibly can here. Leader also able to get out of turret aggro, but there was no escape there for Kirei using his flash in the initial engage.
I like that Hiva walks up as well just to make sure that nothing else goes against them. The difficulty here is, yes, Caedrel got a kill. Good for him, but sadly, you really want those kills in the mid lane matchup. Leader getting this early serrated Dirk is going to make it much harder for Mickey. And you can see Mickey now already on the back foot, down 9 CS, and has to go double Dorans here in the early game.
Now, right now, Excel's bottom lane has the push advantage. Mystiques is considering roaming up here towards Caedrel. They're just going to end up clearing away the ward, though, and not going for any sort of invade. But I think that now we've seen mid lane already start to get a little explosive. Level 6s are going to be coming through in the next few minutes before the flashes return on Mickey or Leader. So vision control around mid lane is going to be absolutely pivotal in this match, because if Caedrel hits level 6 or if Kirei hits level 6, if you can just camp out inside of a control ward on this bottom side of the river, it becomes so easy to lock down your target, because both of these mid laners excel in bringing so much CC into a gank.
And yeah, and when we look at this team, of course, as well, we talk about Leader and the many shades of Leader. Yesterday, we saw the best. He got all the int out, folks. The blue juice was up, the int was gone. Leader was absolutely a monster
That man
yesterday.
had 7 solo kills.
That's incredible.
Against Fnatic.
And Mickey does not want to add to that stat. But you can see Kirei is pretty determined to make a little bit more happen here. Mickey takes a lot of damage, and this is something that you have to respect from Leader. He is a very, let's say, polarizing player. You see sometimes his best performances, sometimes you see his worst performances. You have to find out which one today will be.
Yep, right now, vision game going the way of Misfits. Leader also with that experience advantage, denying a lot when Mickey was dove underneath the tower. Ends up playing it pretty favorably to him there, up 13 CS at the moment. Another thing we have to keep in mind is that Leader opted into going for the Ignite in this matchup as well. So that is going to be favorable for them when they go for these 2 versus 2. And I think that for both of these sides, it's really the first team that goes in. I don't think counter ganking is actually that good in this situation, because there's so much hard CC against relatively squishy mid laners that you can just burst them out pretty much instantly.
And you can see Mickey with a little bit of survivability going the grass, but obviously very difficult outside of the ult. And the shield and the passive doesn't have a ton of defensive tools, but now, anything you can do, we can do better, says Excel. They're going to send 3 members to the mid lane. Caedrel now walking in. Leader thinks he's safe, but here's going to come the rain from the Rumble. Where's the ulti going to go? Immediately, Camille comes in. Leader now trapped. A Supreme display of talent. Not even going to come out as Mickey gets the kill.
Really nicely done there from Excel. And this is something Expect does a lot when he's playing top lane, especially on a champion like the Rumble that can generate priority so easily. He pushes out that wave, walks down through the river with Caedrel. They don't even care that they're stepping over vision because of the ultimatum coming through from Mickey. And now they should be able to use that pressure to take down this Drake, because Leader without a TP can't respond.
Predator has, though, been used by Kirei. Not level 6 yet. Caedrel, of course, with no ultimate, though, means they're not too threatened. The TP now coming in. The Camille now walking down. So it looks like a lot of resources being spent on the side of Excel to secure this Drake, but they will get it, while Misfits stand around, really not equipped to contest at this point of the game.
Excel don't even bother with the option that Misfits were just bluffing by bringing pressure there. They call in the TP from Expect. Still has his ultimate, the Equalizer, ready. And DanDan could have come in, but I believe he used his ultimate a little bit earlier to just try and clear away a minion wave and counteract the push there from Expect. So Excel used the pressure to get the early Infernal Drake. This is what we expect to see from this team. They are quite good at generating these early advantages, again, through the backs of some of their better players like Caedrel and Expect, who I think continually perform at a high level.
And of course, Expect, given a favorable matchup here up to the Vladimir, yes, the Vladimir feels like much easier to execute in a team fight than a Rumble mid to late game, and will scale up a ton. But for now, the Rumble able to push out these waves, able to move down to the mid lane, use his TP in this Dragon fight. While it costs him a bit in CS, guarantees the Infernal for the team. Misfits, however, will continue to get scarier and scarier. We've been all about the mid lane, but as we just checked in on top, let's check in on bot side as well. Jeskla and Mystiques actually forced off the tower here. Leader roaming down. Good that they decide to leave. It could have cost them their lives if they stuck around for too long, but it does mean a few plates most likely will go over to the side of Misfits.
I think Excel would do well to try and get out of the 2v2 bottom lane and just go for a full swap at the moment with Herald spawning him in half. There's no Drake on the bottom side of the map either, but mid lane,
ooh, Leader not going to connect on the ultimate there. That's not what you want to see. Has to be careful. The Ignite still burning down. They might have more than enough damage to kill Mickey. He's burning. He's ticking. Kirei flashes in the auto. Not even needed. The Ignite does the work.
But there we have it. The team that makes the first move in these mid lane 2v2s is the one that will come out on top right there. In that case, it was Kirei finding that mid lane gank. They're using the flash too to make sure they can knock out Mickey.
And the timing was so perfect there because if the ultimate had been available, that might have been a very different story. But it comes off cooldown in Mickey's death timer, so just very good window of opportunity utilized there by the side of Misfits. Maybe a different story, though, as mid lane and jungle both now have their ultimates up on the side of XL. But checking in, of course, less than a 1k gold advantage for the side of Misfits, balanced out somewhat by the Infernal Drake, and both junglers now gearing up for a little bit of a contest here.
Kirei is relatively low on mana here. Caedrel doesn't necessarily know that Leader went back to base, but he could just walk in for the Smite steal.
The battle of ages. And who's going to get it? None other than Caedrel. Is he just going to use the ult here?
Oh, no.
Lockdown follows up the combo. Sejuani mechanics, folks. Never thought I'd say that one, but there it is. Caedrel gets the solo kill.
Q, auto, W-E-R. Now mid lane gank.
Oh, Leader now locked up. The instant kill in the mid lane, and Excel once again taking over these plays. They've instantly equalized the gold. They grab a tower play too, and things are looking good.
It's the same exact play too. Expect pushes top lane, roams down towards the mid lane. Even though Mickey had gone down, Excel were still very much willing to play around their points of pressure on the map. And yes, they're going to lose out in CS on that top side, but this is exactly the kind of moves we need to see to try and shut down Leader, because this player is the one that will pop off when Misfits win.
And it's a difficult situation too, because Vladimir is also very terrifying. It does feel to a certain degree like XL are putting themselves on a clock, but of course, as you look back, once again, this is the real supreme display of talent.
Is it? Is that what you want to call it?
Ulti, proc again. Fun fact for you guys. Stack 4 times, 1 frost proc, ulti, 2nd frost proc. If you do it in the other order, you can't get both.
And if you bring 3 people to the mid lane, with a lot of hard
you
CC,
push your buttons.
it doesn't matter what order you do it.
Hands up, face into the keyboard. They'll die.
Hands up, face down. Oh, man.
League of Legends. Gonna continue forward on that one, and Caedrel now building a significant advantage here. And coming into this game, Kirei has always been kind of the early game proactive playmaker. I expected Caedrel to match him, but it feels like outside of that first play from Kirei, Caedrel is actually outperforming in a lot of these exchanges.
I mean, it's a 2-level difference. So regardless of the gold, which is already a big gap between these two, it shows sometimes that Caedrel just is much more efficient in his early game pathing. And some of it was shown with Kirei going for the very early gank on towards the mid lane. That was a move that slows you down as a jungler, whereas Kirei, he usually clears out the majority of his jungle before he makes these types of moves. Wasn't able to find anything down bottom lane, but expect. What?
Give Kirei a break, leave him alone, let the man farm his jungle. Expect is now running him down. The Chilling Smite trying to buy a bit more time. The flash forward, he's starting to burn. I don't know about that stopwatch. Kirei not going to make it out of this one. He's healing up. He's just barely trying to run. The Vladimir is there to body block. Mickey desperately wants to kill the blast cone. Has to wait before he goes for anything else. Now they're turning their sights on DanDan, but DanDan is giving his life to save Kirei. But Kirei might just be dead too. This could be disaster for the side of Misfits. Can they turn this play? Kirei still with a decent amount of health. Maybe he can get a bit of CC down. Leader has now taken out Mickey. Can he get anything else done? Leader burning, and Expect will get one in the end.
You don't get to say this very often, but Excel are playing Limit League of Legends right there. Expect just going in practically 1 versus 3. Now Caedrel,
more limits to be tested. Kirei under this tower. Kirei in a tower versus expecting Caedrel. Cannot imagine this will go in favor of the Gragas. Where's he going to go with the body slam? Has to try to buy a bit more time. Moves out of the way. Can he dodge it? But no. The fade away rocket, and Expect 3-0-2. And this is the thing, folks. This is a continuation. We were talking about bot lane in the past. Expect was kind of the light in spring, but now in summer. We saw it at Aurelia yesterday, and we're seeing it again on the Rumble today. Expect is been an absolute monster on the top side of the map.
And it's not just that he's playing well in his individual lane, it's the amount of impact he has in his team's games. You know, for a top laner, he has such a high kill participation for his team. Very nicely done. And here, it's not even a mid lane gank. He's literally just running inside the enemy jungle. Beautiful sidestep there to not get hit away by the cast, and then continues to run him down because he knows Mickey is taking a good trade in mid lane, and at the same time, Caedrel is called all the way up towards this top side of the map. So even though they don't initially burn down Kirei, they still have all the members necessary to make another play.
Hold that thought, Mickey is going to get locked up here now. Needs to try to make it out to safety. Has to be careful. Good damage now coming in. Huge equalizer to the pinch. Trying to throw forward. The cat is on the chase. Kirei is getting burned down. Expect now on a rampage. Mickey, though, going face to face with DanDan. Has to be careful here. Gets the shield up on the adaptive defenses. Buys a bit more time with the sun. Locks up the Rakan. It was a bait. DanDan was not the target. Eyes were on Hiba, and they'll find their mark.
Excel's composition becomes a killing machine when the lane assignments fall to the wayside. Camille in the mid lane, Sejuani in the jungle. You just get control over that lane. You get control of the river, and you keep running them down and repeat killing them.
And the crowd alive with chants for XL. And not surprising to see the way that this game is playing out. And once again, XL continue to develop week to week. But for the side of Misfits, they're not out of this yet. And Leader, definitely someone you need to watch. Quick flash out from jeskla. Knew he was dead there if he did not get away. Leader cannot forget that he is still going to be quite a strong Qiyana, especially as level 11 rolls around.
Yep, and again, Misfits Gaming, the AoE damage they have in these team fights, if they can catch XL clumped up, it's going to be very powerful. We see this one more time, though, because XL bring 5 members towards the top side of the map. They know Leader is bottom lane without the teleport, and that's just a beautiful equalizer to set up for the first kill on towards Kirei. Mickey, even though he's very low, he knows he has his passive up, so he can step forward for this trade, and then catches out Hiva with a hook shot as well. Just really, really nicely done, and nicely coordinated from this XL squad.
And once again, impressed with this team, now turning this into 1.5k gold lead. When we look back at that fight, Expect is the guy that you have to keep your eyes on. Obviously, Caedrel ults were the turning factor in the game yesterday. Caedrel has once again been a huge catalyst for action in this game, but Expect as well. These are the 2 people on the side of the Excel lineup that are really making things happen.
Yep, and now I just want to see Excel set up around these neutral objectives. Again, even if Misfits think they have a strong team fight, if Excel can just catch them in a corridor, a tight little narrow passway with the equalizer from Expect, you can just hard engage on these targets if they filter in one by one. So Misfits won't be able to contest, and even if they did, Excel would have the upper hand.
And as we crest the 15-minute mark, I want to go back to something we talked about in Champs League. We said it would be all about mid lane, one of these guys getting the advantage. And while it was all about mid lane, it was not in the jungle mid 2v2 that we thought it would be. It was Expect moving down to this mid lane, making things happen. And that's a just good, honestly, heads-up play from the side of XL. And Expect going outside of his lane to get advantages for the rest of his team. And now as they break down this mid lane tower, they are in just about total control of this map.
Yeah, they're in a really good spot at the moment. Mickey down a level, still favors the trade.
Have to be careful. Waiting for the ultimate before he uses his ult, trying to trade here. Good slow. Doesn't want to commit to the tower dive, though. And, ooh, Caedrel. Hello.
All right.
6.3k. He is
Sometimes you just got to carry on the Sejuani.
Where's the AP? That's all I'm saying. Just building tank items when you're the carry on your team, that's not how you win.
I've seen some Shirelia's Sejuani from time to time. I wouldn't mind it.
Leandri's Torment Ender.
Oh.
Burn them down.
That's what you meant. Okay. That's a little bit out there for me.
I build rapid fire cannon on Bard. I'm a bad person. You just need to understand.
You're the best kind of person, Drakos. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Thank you, Ender. That's what I wanted to hear. Next up, of course, Schalke versus Splice, continuing the story of close team fighting. Not going to matter, though. Neon now in trouble. Hextech Ultimatum comes out, tries to buy a bit more time. Neon still alive. Now finally uses the ultimate. Fantastic disengage from the side of Misfits, but sadly, XL still able to grab the dragon. Now push for a little bit more. Herald used bottom side, top side. Meanwhile, Leader is pushing in. Will look to break down that tier 1. Camille can try to move up to punish, but does not have access to her ult.
Yeah, and XL now 4 members in this bottom side jungle, so it's not possible for Misfits to contest this push in this bottom side of the map. They can also use the presence of Caedrel on that Gromp camp to try and walk this Herald into the next tower if they want to get a little bit more damage. But right now, the entire map just feels like it belongs to Excel. Even the top side that was being pushed in by Misfits, they still have very, very strong ward coverage over that area of the map. And yes, you can say it's only, 1.5, 2,000 gold lead for Excel at the moment, but the way they have controlled Misfits so far has been very impressive.
We're talking a lot about Excel, so I do want to look at the side of Misfits. We're talking about how this team comes back to the game. They have a scaling option like the Vladimir. Xayah, Rakan, obviously very strong in terms of scaling and engage. What are you looking at in terms of Misfits' opportunities to find a lead, to find an advantage?
I think that Misfits right now are sort of at a crossroads, because usually you see a champion like Qiyana, you're like, okay, I want to set up inside the enemy jungle, I want to find picks. But I don't think there's a lot of great targets for him to actually single out on the side of Excel. Mickey you're probably going to lose to, Expect is strong enough, you're going to lose to, and jeskla, he's probably always going to have a little cat inside of him. So it's very hard to make much happen in that situation. For Misfits, though, I think they just need to weather the storm a little bit longer and then try to set up Leader and DanDan to find flanks in the team fights. If they can get in from behind on Excel, that gives them really good potential to layer up those ultimates.
Always difficult, though, as Excel have a ton of vision control laid down. Mystiques and Caedrel forming up into a team here to just lay down a bit of vision. You're not going to catch that Sejuani when a cat is attached. Neon will do what he can to control the mid lane. Has a bit of an XP advantage as well as CS lead, but won't amount to too much at this point. Very difficult for him to sit in these fights for too long, just the sheer amount of threat to him in the form of CC.
I do have to reiterate how much I just really like XL's team composition right now, because they have so many divers. I mean, I guess Camille is the main diver, but you have the ability to engage with a lot of these different tools, and Yuumi is so good at enabling those types of champions. You know, if you hop in a Mickey or if you hop in a Caedrel to help them engage, you're going to do very, very well for yourself when you're starting off these fights. And because they drafted the Ezreal, Ezreal doesn't actually need Yuumi to be helping him out in these fights. He's already so safe on his own.
And I think that's when Yuumi's at her best, is yes, you put her with an AD carry in the early laning phase to get through, but ideally in mid to late game, you want her on a melee champion on a bruiser, because that's where that movement speed really, really matters. It makes it impossible to get away from a pick like the Sejuani, like the Camille. Leader holding this tower, for all Excel know, by himself, but there are 3 members strong here committed to make sure the dive cannot happen.
Yeah, there are also some blue wards spotting out Hiva and Kirei on this side of the map, and for just a couple more seconds, there was a TP advantage for DanDan in the bottom lane. Expex is just coming up, so had Excel actually fully committed to that tower, there's a really good teleport ward to get that flank off from DanDan. So I like the decision to back away, and to back away there.
Fight with fire a little bit. That's a level 7 Rakan, for the record. Hiva has adopted a strategy we often see in other MOBAs where the support takes literally no resources whatsoever and it's just a pile of spells.
And to Misfits' credit, though, you see Neon with a level advantage over jeskla, right? And yes, that lane didn't have too much action going on in it, but usually we do see the level advantages go to the team that is constantly pushing in these lanes and stealing away resources in terms of jungle camps and all these things. But Hiva's lack of presence around Hiva has enabled him to build up a little bit of an EXP lead.
See if it can get anything in the fights to come. Is going to matter, of course, as a second level in the ultimate is always good to have. Ezreal will match on that front, but as we know, both those champions heavily reliant on their spells to have consistent damage output, whether it's the Mystic Shot or the Blade Caller on the side of the Xayah. 22 minutes or 20 minutes and 30 seconds into the game now, folks. 2K gold lead for the side of Excel, 2 towers to 2, but very much Excel in control of the map right now. However, it feels like they're struggling to get anything else done.
Right, and this is the point of the game where usually Excel come in, they have a bit of a gold lead. Sometimes, you know, they stall out. Sometimes they misfire on their play. So we have to look with a very critical eye on them if they can try to resolve some of these issues, if they are trying to make this race towards the playoffs.
Ulti gonna go wide, though. Big fumble there, not exactly what Excel wanted. Of course, just fishing for an opportunity, fishing for a pick to potentially get something more. Leader holding on to this tier 1 for a very long time, though. This is not well advised.
This seems very dangerous, too, because 5 members of Excel are coming up to the top lane. Even without the Sejuani ultimate, it is very, very risky. Gonna be able to clear away the wave, though.
Predator's been used. Leader taking a lot of poke damage. Aggressive move forward there from the side of jeskla. Now the equalizer comes down. Leader has no path out to safety. A huge engage comes in, but a great disengage follows. Sadly, it will not stop the kills from going in the favor of Excel.
There's this huge greed there from Leader sticking underneath that tower while Kirei and he were like, come on, leave now or we're going to sacrifice this. We have 2 people on the map clearing away in other lanes. There just was not presence from Misfits on that side of the map, and now Excel are going to start the Baron.
21-minute Baron. The Yuumi's going to heal up most of the team. There are very strong tanky members. Of course, the Sejuani just repeatedly apprised that permafrost and will now just be able to burn through the Baron. Baron is now going to fall. They're not even able to grab a bot lane tier 2. The Vladimir does not push fast enough, and Excel are in absolute control of the map.
This is so good for Excel, too. With the strength of Mickey as well, they can split up the map and play all of these different side lanes. They've still got double teleports on their soul laners as well. So all those issues they were thinking, maybe they stop Excel from pulling off a win. Now at 22 minutes, they have a Baron. It should be easy.
For Misfits Line-up, I think after the last performance they had, after, of course, beating Fnatic, I mean, you give them a lot of benefit of the doubt heading into this matchup, but Excel have had more time together on this big stage to sort out how they want to play the game, and it just shows in the coordination here.
Look at that equalizer, literally not giving Leader any room to go, and Hiva too, because his dashes are attached to jumping to his allies, he just has to roll straight over the equalizer there too, literally burning as he's trying to use those spells to escape.
And normally, I talk about Vladimir versus Rumble, and I assume that Vladimir is just going to have a much easier job getting things done. But honestly, Expect has been so far ahead and been executing so well individually that it just feels like Vladimir has not even gotten a chance to play League of Legends. And DanDan is normally the guy that you look at to be a big difference maker.
Yeah, I mean, up until now, DanDan has not been able to do too much, and he's on a champion. The Vladimir, we've seen him play in the past, right? EU Masters, I remember him picking up this champion especially, but it's not the split push style that we've seen Misfits be successful with so far. Now, he did finish off his Rabadon's Death Cap. The Duskblade of Drakthar did come through from Leader. Second item on Neon as well. So some of the itemization spikes are trying to match up with the timing of Excel's, but still they are hopelessly outnumbered whenever these sieges come because the Baron buff just makes it so hard to clear away the waves.
They just do not have fantastic wave clear. Obviously, Vladimir has a certain degree of safety to step forward with the pool, but Leader, you can see just fishing for elements to throw at this cannon creep. In the meantime, Mickey just ready to body block if he needs to. jeskla will start the siege. The cat there to back him up. Mystiques, solid impact in the game so far. And Caedrel, no surprises, clearing out the vision and ready to just throw an ultimate over the wall if need be. So a slow, steady siege from the side of Excel.
And if Misfits are relegated to their base, how do they find that flank that we expect them to be looking for? They continue to fall further and further behind here as more turrets go the way of Excel, and these minion waves are constantly being reinforced because Misfits can't actually step up and clear away the waves.
Caedrel there will connect, but there's no follow-up there onto Caedrel. Have to be careful. Oh, Leader! The rest of the team, Vladimir now fishing for the flank. jeskla could possibly be in trouble. Mystiques has to be ready to disengage, but DanDan will not find the opportunity. Meanwhile, Rumble pushes in the top side. Ezreal ult will not connect onto anyone, and Excel continue to siege forward. But as they start to push into these towers, the pressure mounts for Misfits to make a response.
Yeah, there's a wave here on this bottom lane tower. Misfits cannot do anything. They give up the tower without even trying to play, and now a mid lane wave is pushing up towards this tower. It's down to 50%. DanDan is trying to find this flank. This is the last chance before Misfits just lose their entire base.
Expect ready to find the flank as well. DanDan needs to fire first if they want to get this. It's all about who shoots first. And Caedrel finds it on the Leader, the instant kill. Leader, no, just barely not able to make it out. Diva trying to buy time. jeskla stepping forward. That's going to be the final chapter. Will not connect, however, as the rest of the team retreat. They're going to grab a single inhibitor. Excel, will they commit for more or will they walk away?
They absolutely commit for more. Look at that mid lane tower. It's so low right now, and another wave is coming up here. Expect and Mickey are just playing nuisance inside of the base right here, making sure the Baron buff stays on these minions, making sure they can buy time for Excel to now bring that wave into the mid lane and knock that one down.
Caedrel now steps forward once again, has the cat attached, fishing for a little bit more. Pop block will give a bit more shielding to Mystiques as jeskla now going to burn down this inhibitor. 2 inhibitors down for the side of Excel. Misfits running out of time. Might just be the final nail in the coffin here.
Throws down the equalizer as he leaves to expect, not slowing down here. And that's a perfect use of a Baron buff, Drakos. Your first Baron that you get at 22 minutes, you expect to maybe get the inner ring of towers, maybe try to chip down an inhibitor, but Excel just got 2 inhibitors for their troubles. Now it becomes so easy to set up a siege in towards this top lane, and the time for Misfits to make a move is just getting gradually and gradually slower.
Just a difficult, honestly, position to be in. When you are playing that mid lane match, we talked about how crucial it was, and when you're the one that falls behind, you just don't really get to play League of Legends. You see Leader here doesn't get to push one button. He gets to push one button. This is all, and then he dies.
Tries to hop on out of there, but without vision over that wall, he cannot step up in that area of the map. It makes it so easy there for Excel to take everything.
And Leader yesterday had this monster performance, so he went from being in a position where he's far enough ahead to make these monstrous outplays in the late game to now really not being able to make any plays, and just an incredibly difficult situation to be in, and it shows that this team hasn't had as much time on this stage, but up until this week, honestly, I would have said the same for Excel. This will be their first 2-0 week if they win this game, Ender.
It's absolutely huge, and it changes the playoff picture entirely, because I was ready to write off Excel before this week.
Normally we look forward to it, like, at least there's one team that we don't have to consider in the playoffs race, but you remember it was last spring where like every single team was in contention?
And I mean, this split, it was like, oh, Excel, you know, unlucky, I guess, 2020. Maybe they can get some more experience on jeskla and Mystiques. But that is a very different story now, as some of our other teams fighting for this 6th and final spot into playoffs are fumbling, are not finding their footing. Excel came into week 6 completely prepared.
And of course, the good news for Misfits fans out there is that Misfits have a buffer. So even if they lose here, there's still a win up. But obviously, things need to improve very rapidly. Already a very tragic split for Misfits in this new lineup. Already having some pretty impressive results, but need to keep going forward if they want to make playoffs. Already kind of a miraculous story that they've been able to perform as well as they have, but need to show more. And for Excel, very much on the up and up. You were skeptical at the start of the game. They needed to show you more. Well, I know they're showing you more.
They're definitely showing it right here. Now this siege is going to be a little bit slow without the Baron buff, but 15 seconds away from that objective spawning. They're just going to make sure all these waves are pushed out to not give Misfits the safety and the ability to run down any of these lanes when Excel inevitably do go back, or they can just try and siege down this tower here. Going to be hard though, without that buff.
Grouping him is very difficult to expect is level 16 on this Rumble. He has both the Leandries as well as the Morella Nomicon. A single well-placed equalizer can decimate the Misfits lineup.
Now, if we're going to give Misfits a single chance, it is DanDan. You said expect level 16. Well, DanDan is level 16 too. Now, 3 completed items on the Vladimir. I don't think they have enough time to get in towards this pit, but Misfits are going to have to win one team fight. They're going to have to win multiple team fights if they want to stand a chance, because right now, they're just conceding everything.
And you can't blame them. because this is the stage of the game, Ender, where if you're Misfits, you get one more play. But Excel fans not looking to give that in to the Misfits.
Excel don't have to slow down now. Now there's nothing that Misfits can do to stop these minions coming into the top lane. A wave and a half sieging on up here. They go for the engage.
Caedrel just instantly goes in. Leader now in trouble. It's the previous play of town, but it will not buy enough time. He's just locked in the cage, but meanwhile, he was doing as much work as he possibly can to try to keep his team fight alive. DanDan is going to go huge on the backside. It may just be enough. Eyes on jeskla. Is he going to find the kill? It looks like yes, he will. Caedrel wants to get it back. Mickey will free fire in. Misfits just barely holding on. Neon still alive. 3 items. Trying to push through the rest of this. How much more can he get done? The ulti comes out. Mickey could just be in trouble here. Where are the feathers going to go? Can he pull it back? He flashes away. He can't do it. Mystiques just barely able to find the kill in time. Misfits holding on for now, but Excel come out on top, and it looks like they may just try to end the game here.
Excel just have to wait for the waves now. Kirei and Hiva, jungle and support, the only ones to try and stop it, but the waves are too much, the minions are too strong.
Pushing forward the 2 weakest members of the team. They just can't stop this from happening. 7 seconds on leader. Is this his time to shine? Is this his moment? Mystique's doing what he can. Mickey trying to clean up the rest of the team. Hiva now in trouble, will get cut down. Kirei, last man standing. There are too many members. Leader needs to kill Mickey. Can he do it? So much damage coming out of the Qiyana, but it's not enough. The final chapter, he'll get locked up. He'll get taken down. And Excel fans can cheer with pride. Excel Esports, fa la 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 la.
A very solid showing from Excel in their 2 games this weekend. Their first 2-0 week of the LEC summer split, and trying to put themselves back into the playoff picture. This game was clean from start to finish. I have to say, Expect in the top lane on his Rumble was an absolute pleasure to watch.
He is hands down between him and Caedrel, the 2 players you have to look at. Yesterday, Caedrel felt like the MVP with those incredible stolen Gnar ultimates. Today, another monster performance from Expect. If you don't vote for him, you're trolling. I'll just say it now. I know he's going to be on that poll. Expect just an incredible Rumble performance. You can see why he picks it, why he prioritizes it. And Ender, coming to this game, these are 2 teams that we said, hey, there is some spots remaining, and you better be ready to fight for the death. These are 2 teams that we looked at and we went, hey, yes, they've had these good recent performances, but I'm not sure where to rank them. And for Excel, this starts to answer a lot of those questions when they play this cleanly.
Definitely does right here too. I mean, they had such a clear idea of how they wanted to play the game. Our second Sejuani with the Camille mid inside of this game, playing around it so beautifully early on. There were some moments where the 2v2s did not go their way, but they never took their foot off the gas. And that was so refreshing to see from this team, that they would not let up, that they were willing to take risky plays and make them work.
And overall, just a good look for the team. Coordinated, mechanically performing in a variety of tense situations. We were skeptical, and we've been skeptical, honestly, about Mystiques and jeskla on lanes that aren't necessarily about hard engaging, about playing super aggressive, but another fantastic game for both of them. jeskla very much a role player this game. Mystiques finding a lot of good engages, where he needed to be in so many of these fights, and to give the rest of the team a little bit of credit, it's a lot easier to play Yuumi when your teammates are fed. So good look for Excel overall. The opposite side for Misfits, obviously a tough loss. Very mixed bag this week. But of course, we'll hear more from Caedrel in an interview coming up. And honestly, that top side of the map, scarier and scarier. I feel like that's where we're going to just continue to put our attention for this XL team.
Yeah, you have to look at it, because Expect has been solid so far this split, but he hasn't had pop-off performances all too often. You know, Excel, for a team that isn't winning that much, it's hard to look good outside of the laning phase. But this weekend, Expect and Caedrel definitely need to be on everyone's radar. This is the heart and soul of this team, and it looked real good in Week 6.
Absolutely the case. Well, key player of the game is going to be the top side of the map. All Esports on Twitter. You can vote for Expect, Caedrel, or Mickey. Look, I'll accept a Caedrel argument. Mickey, you had a good game, you did your thing, but like, sorry, dude, you're not in the running for me. Caedrel, Expect, you can pick. I'd vote Expect. Those were some insane Rumble ults. This character is always like theory crafted to be really OP with that ultimate, but I rarely see it executed well. This is a great example of it being executed well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw both of them trying to solo kill Kirei in this game.
So bad for Kirei. They literally took turns solo killing Kirei. That's rough. Well, let's check in with Laura and Caedrel for more on Excel's first 2-0 week.
Thanks, guys. And thank you, Caedrel, for joining me. First 2-0 week for you guys. What do you think about the performance you had overall during the week?
Well, yeah, it's the first 2-0 we've had all year, so that's pretty good, I guess. I mean, I think we just played against weaker teams, I suppose, which is kind of good for us. We didn't have like a pretty hard weekend, and I mean, we knew that we could win, even though we're not that strong in the standings. So we just tried our best in scrims, and just, yeah, we had really good preparation as well.
You know what? I really don't agree with you here, because I feel like everybody can take on anybody in the LEC right now. So, and the standings are pretty stacked. Yesterday, I was talking with Mystiques about the fact that the playoff dream was still on. And looking at it right now, I don't feel like it's such a dream. I feel like you could actually do it. So looking at the standings and the way everybody is stuck outside of top 2 and top 3, what do you think about your chances to make it to playoff?
Well, I remember the last split, I think the borderline for playoffs was 8-10 for tiebreaker. I think we have 9 losses right now. So I think if we lose 1 more game, it's okay. But if we lose 2, I think it's over. And I still think we have to face Origin, Fnatic, G2, the top 3. So that'll be quite hard. But I think Origin and Fnatic are in a bit of a slump, it feels like. So that's quite doable, I think. But G2 is, yeah.
G2 is going to be your last game of the split, I think, so you have time to think about this one. But looking at the schedule you have, we're in the second half of the split, so basically you have to play every team once again. So which one are the easiest to beat for you, looking at the way you guys are playing right now?
Okay, well, I hope it doesn't come across as toxic, but I suppose the easiest teams to face right now that we've got left are probably Vitality, SK, and Schalke, I suppose.
Have the standings if you want to check.
Yeah, I think it's Vitality, SK, Schalke are probably the easiest 3, even though they're still super strong teams. I mean, Splice, Fnatic, G2, and Origin are super hard, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
You didn't have the easiest start and easiest road here. I mean, you had a change of coach, a change of teammates, so you standing as one of the OG players in Excel, what do you think about all these changes?
Yeah, I think we've gone through like 4 or 5 different roster changes, and we've gone through a huge coaching staff change as well, between spring and summer. So it's definitely been hard to transition for me and Expect, because we're the only ones who have been in from the beginning, I suppose. But the rookies are really strong, I think. Jeskla and Mystiques have been showing up quite well, and they're getting more and more confident on stage, which is good. I think they played in total of like 7 or 8 weeks now together, so they're definitely confident in each other. So that's really helping us, and Mickey coming in with a lot of experience has helped us grow as a team, I think.
On the AD, they said that your new bot lane was helping you enable your crazy style as a jungler. Do you agree on that?
Yeah, kind of, because I mean, I know that I can trust them to like, when they need a bot gank or they need vision or anything, they just instantly call me and like they're really confident in it. So, and I think their playstyle is super, super aggressive. Like if they see like the enemy bot step up 1 millimeter, they're just gonna all in, no matter what happens, right? So, I mean, that's really good for me as well, because it makes the game a lot more volatile. So I can just, yeah.
But is it an issue for you to control this crazy playstyle that you can have?
I mean, sometimes when they're on hard engaged champs, they really want to go, but I'm the same kind of. When I'm on like the hard engaged champs like Sejuani, Javan, I always get the temptation to just flash in as well. So, I mean, both of us kind of have it, so we just have to control each other.
Okay, well, we were talking about the bot lane, we were talking about the rookies. I just heard that Expect is the player of the game here. So, is it a surprise for you, considering the game he had?
I mean, Expect's always like, I think he's my best friend on the team, and we've been playing together for like almost a year now, and I have so much trust in him. And we have a lot of trust in each other. So every time he makes a call or I make a call, we trust each other, which is really nice to have as a top laner. And I think this game, he gave up so much in his lane just to help the team. And I think that's like really great by him.
I agree on that. Last question for you. You role swapped last year. How did it help to become a jungler, knowing that you had so much knowledge as a mid laner?
Well, I think after playing like 3 or 4 years of mid lane, I kind of realized that I'm not going to be the best. I kind of accepted it as a mid. But I felt like I still had the game sense to play other roles, and when I started playing jungle, I really felt confident in how to control the map rather than like playing Azir and just sitting there farming 300 CS and then killing everyone. So once it became more like of a dynamic game where I could control it and be active on the map, I felt a lot more comfortable. And then once I started playing solo queue, and I felt like I had the mechanics for it as well when I started playing carry champions, and then I managed to get rank 1 in the US, and then as soon as this happened, I knew that, okay, I'm really confident in this role now, so then it's just been a journey since then.
Any champs you would like to see in the jungle in the upcoming weeks?
I mean, I hope they buff like Graves and Nidalee and stuff. I really like that meta.
Thank you.
Like the farming meta where you just like get 4 levels up on the enemy jungler. So yeah, that would be a nice meta.
I miss Nidalee so much. I was saying this earlier this week. Thank you so much for your insights, and I really hope I will get to hear from you in the upcoming weeks. And we're gonna take a short break, and coming back, it's gonna